The force of his blow sent her sprawling, her crimson blood painting the training mat. According to Saurian tradition, that makes him her owner. And her sisters too. Now, what in the galaxy does that even mean? Ryan Wright stared down at the fallen warrior, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The humid air of the training arena hung thick with the scent of crushed lumina blossoms, and the metallic tang of saurian blood, a scent far sharper than human blood. He noted with clinical detachment. Around him, the circle of warrior sisters, scales shimmering in the filtered sunlight that pierced the canopy above, stood frozen. A low growl rumbled from the throat of the eldest saurian, her scales a faded, mossy green, her eyes ancient and knowing. The contest is complete. By the ancient laws, the human has won. Daphne and her sisters are now his to command. Ryan's head snapped up, disbelief warring with a rising tide of revulsion. Wait, what? Own? As in? Property? Absolutely not. I don't own anyone. This was a sparring match, a training exercise. There's been a mistake. The words tasted like ash in his mouth. The very concept was morally repugnant. He'd fought for credits, for causes, for survival, but never to own another being. Daphne, scales the color of polished obsidian, stirred. She pushed herself up, spitting blood onto the ochre-colored sand of the arena floor. Her eyes, reptilian and furious, locked onto Ryan's. Humiliation burned in their depths, but beneath the anger, Ryan saw a flicker of something else, a rigid acceptance, a resignation born of ingrained tradition. The elder speaks the truth, she hissed, her voice raspy. The law is clear. You defeated me. I am yours. A ripple of whispers spread through the assembled sisters. Some glared at Ryan with open hostility, their claws flexing and retracting. Others watched with wary curiosity, their heads tilted in a way that reminded Ryan of birds sizing up a potential threat. A few, younger sisters, their scales still vibrant and iridescent, seemed almost hopeful. Daphne rose to her full height, towering over Ryan even in her injured state. She gestured to the elder, who produced a data slate etched with intricate symbols. The tradition, Daphne explained, her voice tight with barely suppressed rage, is not one of slavery, human. It is one of responsibility. As owner, you are bound to protect the clan, to ensure our survival. Our strength is waning. Our resources are dwindling. We are vulnerable. Ryan scanned the training ground, a clearing hacked out of the dense jungle, surrounded by rickety wooden palisades. He saw the threadbare training mats, the patched-up weapons, the gaunt faces of the younger sisters. He saw the strategic vulnerability of their position, easily flanked by the dense foliage. He understood with a sinking feeling that this ownership wasn't about power but about burden. A sudden rhythmic thumping echoed through the jungle, the unmistakable beat of war drums. Signal fires flared on distant hilltops, casting long, dancing shadows against the darkening sky. Something was coming. Rival clans, Daphne said grimly, her gaze fixed on the distant flames. They smell weakness. The elder stepped forward, her voice surprisingly strong. The human must accept his responsibility. The clan needs a leader. He has earned that right. Ryan took a step back, shaking his head. I appreciate the offer, but I can't. I won't. This whole ownership thing is wrong. I can help you defend yourselves. I can teach you new strategies, but I won't own you. A collective gasp swept through the clearing. Daphne's eyes widened, her expression shifting from anger to something akin to disbelief. You refuse. She spat, her voice dripping with venom. Do you mock us, human? Do you think our traditions, our honor, our very survival is some kind of game to you? Do you mock us, human? Do you think our traditions, our honor, our very survival is some kind of game to you? Ryan met Daphne's furious gaze, the crimson blood still stark against the training mat. He held his hands up, palms open. Absolutely not. But I won't blindly follow a tradition I don't understand, especially when it seems to disempower you and your sisters. A ripple of unease spread through the gathered sisters. One, a stocky warrior named Brenna, shifted her weight, her brow furrowed. But It is the way, it has always been the way. Another, pale-scaled and slender, whispered, if we reject it, what happens to us? Ryan stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. What happens is you adapt. You evolve. You become stronger not because of some archaic rule but because of your own skills and your own choices. He gestured around the training ground. You are fierce warriors, but your defense is scattered, reactive. I propose a new strategy. Advanced reconnaissance to anticipate threats, coordinated tactics to maximize your individual strengths, and diversification of resources so one raid doesn't cripple you. He paused, meeting each sister's eye in turn. Brenna, your strength is unmatched up close. Lyra, your agility and senses are exceptional. Kira, your knowledge of the terrain is invaluable. He turned back to Daphne. But you fight as individuals, not as a unit, and your reliance on that single supply depot makes you vulnerable. He knelt, picking up a handful of the crimson-stained sand. You need to control your destiny, not be controlled by a tradition born of fear. Daphne's scales seemed to darken with anger. Fear. You know nothing of fear, human. You know nothing of betrayal. She spat the word like venom. Long ago, before even my grandmother's time, our clan was strong. We trusted another clan, shared our resources, our knowledge. They feigned friendship, then they struck. They stole our technology, slaughtered our warriors, and left us for dead. Her voice cracked, raw with pain. The ownership tradition. It wasn't about slavery. It was about survival. About ensuring that someone, anyone, would be responsible for our protection, for keeping us alive when no one else would. Ryan rose, his expression softening. I understand now, but I promise you, I can offer you better protection than that tradition ever did. Protection built on strength, strategy, and unwavering loyalty. Before Daphne could respond, a patrol stumbled into the training area, their scales torn, blood dripping onto the sand. Daphne, we were raided. The supply depot, gone, food, weapons, everything. The raiders, another patrol member gasped, clutching a wounded arm. They were efficient like nothing we've ever seen. Daphne's eyes widened in alarm. How many? Too many. And they knew exactly what they were doing. Ryan immediately took command. Brenna, Kira, secure the perimeter. Lyra, assess the damage, get a head count of the injured. Daphne, with me. He turned to Daphne, his voice urgent. We need to organize now. He led her to a holographic display, quickly pulling up a map of their territory. We need to anticipate their next move. They hit the depot, so they'll expect us to be weakened. We need to show them they're wrong. He tapped the display. Let's start with training. Intensive training. I'll teach you human techniques, you teach me Saurian. The following days became a blur of sweat, blood, and dust. Ryan pushed the sisters relentlessly, adapting human fighting techniques to their unique physiology. He showed them how to use their tails for balance and leverage, how to strike with precision and speed, how to coordinate their attacks. The sisters, initially resistant, began to see the value in his methods. They learned to trust his judgment, to rely on his strategic mind. Montage. Ryan demonstrating a pressure point strike on Brenna's thick scales. Kira using her knowledge of the terrain to set up a trap. Lyra scaling a rocky outcrop with incredible speed. Daphne practicing a disarming technique Ryan taught her, her movements becoming fluid and deadly. During a break, Ryan watched Lyra scale a sheer rock face with astonishing speed and agility. She's incredible, he commented to Daphne. Her reconnaissance skills are a natural talent. We need to utilize that. Daphne, arms crossed, watched Ryan with a complicated expression. She saw his commitment, his genuine concern for the clan's well-being, but the implications of his leadership still deeply affected on her. This human, this outsider, was changing everything. Later that evening, Daphne found Lyra sitting alone, sharpening her claws. Lyra, she began hesitantly, I don't know what to think anymore. I resent him, this human who has taken control of our clan, but I respect his capabilities. He is strong, he is smart, and he seems to genuinely care. Lyra paused, looking up at Daphne with her piercing green eyes. The rival clan will sense any weakness, any division in our leadership. They will exploit it. Ryan may be an outsider, but he is our best chance now. You must give him that chance, sister. Suddenly, a klaxon blared, shattering the night's stillness. Red lights flashed across the encampment. Intruders, intruders, full-scale assault on the main encampment. Ryan and Daphne exchanged a look of unyielding commitment. They were caught off guard, separated from the main defensive forces. The attack had begun. The concussive blast slammed into the far wall, showering them with rock dust. Ryan grabbed Daphne's arm, pulling her through the jagged opening into the armory. The air hung thick with the metallic tang of blood and ozone. Inside, flickering emergency lights cast long, distorted shadows. Several sisters lay sprawled amongst overturned weapon racks, their crimson blood stark against the gray metal. Daphne rushed to one, kneeling beside her. "Lisha, report." Lisha groaned, clutching her side. They came so fast, breached the outer perimeter in minutes. Another voice, stronger, cut through the gloom. "The eastern flank is overrun. They're using some kind of sonic disruptor. Our shields are useless." It was Lyra, leaning against a wall, her face grim. She pointed a three-fingered hand towards a crude holographic display flickering nearby. "I managed to get a partial scan before they knocked out the comms. Here." Ryan stepped closer, studying the display. It showed the layout of the complex, overlaid with pulsing red icons representing the enemy forces. He noted the choke points, the narrow corridors, the natural rock formations that could provide cover. "We can use this," he said, his mind already racing. "Daphne, how familiar are your sisters with these tunnels?" "Intimately," she replied, her voice hardening. "This is our home." "Good. We'll turn it into a trap." Ryan began sketching a rough plan in the dust on the floor, outlining ambush points and fallback positions. "They expect a straight fight. We'll give them anything but." He watched the enemy movements on Lyra's scan, noticing a recurring pattern. "They're favoring the northern corridor," he murmured. "Their leader is pushing hard for the central command center." He's predictable. What followed was a blur of coordinated action. The sisters, their faces masks of unshakable focus, moved with practiced efficiency, setting up energy snares and positioning themselves behind natural barriers. Ryan directed their movements, his voice calm and authoritative, his human eyes seeing angles and possibilities they had overlooked. A montage of close-quarters combat, a sister unleashing a devastating energy blast from behind a rock outcropping. Another, her movements a whirlwind of blades, deflecting a barrage of sonic pulses. Ryan, using his monk-trained reflexes, disarming an attacker with a swift, precise strike. The attackers, initially confident, were thrown into disarray, their advance stalled. During a brief lull in the fighting, Daphne approached Ryan, her expression unreadable. "Your strategy, it is effective," she admitted, her voice softer than he'd ever heard it. "I thank you. We're not out of this yet," Ryan said, meeting her gaze. He saw a flicker of something in her eyes, respect, perhaps even something more. "But we're holding them together." A tremor shook the ground, followed by a series of rapid explosions. Lyra stumbled towards them, her face ashen. "They've bypassed the outer defenses. A second wave. Heavier weaponry. It's coming from the west." The distinctive whine of energy cannons ripped through the air, a sound Ryan recognized instantly. It wasn't Saurian technology. "Those are corporate-grade weapons," he said, his voice grim. "Modified plasma rifles. I saw schematics when I intercepted their communications." Daphne's eyes widened, realization dawning. "The rival clan, they're being funded," she breathed. "Equipped by the corporation." Ryan clenched his fist. "They want this territory. They want your planet." He looked at Daphne, his gaze unwavering. "We're not going to let them have it." He turned to the remaining sisters, his voice ringing with newfound persistence. "They may have better weapons, but we have something they don't. We have each other. We have our home. We will not yield." Ryan gave quick instructions. Lyra, I need you to use your stealth to get behind them. Disrupt their communications. Cause chaos. Lyra nodded, disappearing into the shadows. Time seemed to slow as they waited. Then a strangled cry echoed through the tunnels, followed by the sharp crackle of energy weapons. Silence. Daphne's breath hitched. Lyra. A moment later, a distorted voice boomed through the comm system. Daphne, your sister has been detained. She was attempting to interfere with our operations. The voice dripped with malice. Come out, surrender your territory, and perhaps, just perhaps, your sister will be spared. The comms clicked off, leaving a chilling silence in its wake. Daphne roared, a sound ripped from her very core. No, we surrender. Take me instead. Let Lyra go. Her hand instinctively moved towards the hilt of her energy blade, a gesture of both defiance and desperate protection. The remaining sisters mirrored her stance, a united front against impossible odds. Ryan gripped her arm, his touch firm but gentle. Daphne, no, that's exactly what they want. They won't stop with Lyra. They'll bleed this clan dry sister by sister until there's nothing left. He scanned the faces of the warriors, his gaze hardening. We fight, we get Lyra back, and then we end this. How? It was Anya who spoke, her voice tinged with doubt. They have too many, we are trapped. Not trapped, Ryan countered, his eyes gleaming with a focused intensity. Outnumbered, yes, but not trapped. We use their numbers against them. They expect a frontal assault. We give them something else. He crouched, sketching a rough map in the red dust with a twig. A covert rescue. I get in, get Lyra out. You create a diversion, draw their attention. The sisters exchanged dubious glances. Humans are not known for stealth, Ryan. You are. Small. Kira, the youngest, tilted her head, assessing him. Small, yes, Ryan agreed, a flicker of a smile crossing his lips. But also, hard to see. He stood and ran his hands through his hair. I have experience in these matters. He paused. I was trained by monks. Stealth, infiltration, disappearing into shadows. It was their specialty. Daphne, though still hesitant, saw the tenacity in his eyes. What do you need? The next hour was a whirlwind of frantic activity. Ryan, with the sisters' help, scavenged parts from the downed ship, modifying a damaged cloaking device into something functional, if crude. It shimmered with unstable energy, promising only limited invisibility, but it was enough. He moved with a purpose, stripping the circuits and rerouting power from other non-essential components. This won't last long, he said, testing the device. A distorted shimmer warped the air around him. Maybe 10 minutes of full cloak, enough to get in and out. Daphne gathered the remaining sisters. Kira, Anya, you will come with me. We will strike the eastern flank, draw their forces away from the center. She looked at Ryan, her expression softening. Be careful. Ryan nodded, adjusting the cloak generator on his back. Always. He activated the device, disappearing into a blur of refracted light. The air crackled with energy as he moved towards the rival clan's camp. The device worked, but not perfectly. Heat signatures pulsed in his vision, and he could feel the energy draining rapidly. Daphne, Anya, and Kira launched their attack. Energy blades flashed in the twilight, cutting through the air. The rival clan, caught off guard, scrambled to respond. Alarms blared and the camp erupted in chaos. Ryan, cloaked but still wary, moved through the camp like a ghost. He relied on his senses, the feel of the earth beneath his feet, the subtle shifts in the wind to guide him. He bypassed patrols, slipped past surveillance drones, his heart pounding in his chest. He found Lyra imprisoned in a reinforced cell, energy bars humming with power. Her face was bruised, but her spirit remained unbroken. She saw him and gasped, surprise and relief flickering in her eyes. Ryan, what are you doing here? Get out, they'll kill you. Not if I kill them first, he replied, his voice a low growl. Or, disable their power source. He examined the cell controls, a small panel of glowing runes. Give me a minute. They're planning to transport me off-world, Lyra hissed, to the corporation. I overheard them talking. I'm a bargaining chip. Ryan's fingers danced across the panel, rerouting power conduits, bypassing security locks. Not anymore. With a final surge, the cell bars flickered, then died. He grabbed Lyra's hand. Let's go. The alarm screamed, shattering the night. They were exposed. Ryan drew his energy blade, deflecting a plasma blast that singed his hair. Time for Plan B guerrilla tactics. He and Lyra moved through the camp, using shadows and cover, striking quickly and disappearing before the enemy could react. Daphne and the sisters, hearing the alarm, redoubled their efforts, breaking through the enemy lines, creating a path for Ryan and Lyra's escape. Plasma fire streaked across the sky as they made their retreat. As they fell back, Ryan noticed something he hadn't seen before, a hidden entrance concealed beneath a camouflage net. He peered inside, his eyes widening. "What is it?" Daphne asked, her voice strained. "A mining operation," Ryan breathed, his voice tight with disbelief. "Hidden beneath the camp." He quickly scanned the equipment, his face darkening. Massive drills, energy siphons, storage containers glowing with an unnatural light. Daphne approached, her eyes narrowing at the sight. "What are they taking?" Ryan pointed to a large crystalline structure humming with power. "Not just minerals, they're leaching the planet's core energy, storing it for transport." Daphne's eyes widened in horror. "The life force." "They're stealing the planet's life force." She swayed, clutching her head. "What is it?" Ryan asked, concern etched on his face. "We are connected to this world, Ryan, all Saurians. We feel its pain if they drain its energy." Her voice trailed off, fear evident in her eyes. "We will all die." Ryan understood. The corporation wasn't just after resources. They were after something far more valuable, far more dangerous. They're going to sell this energy off-world, as a weapon or a power source. Something. They don't care about the consequences. The sisters regrouped in the relative safety of their own territory. Lyra, though injured, was alive, but the victory felt hollow. Ryan looked at Daphne, his heart aching for her. "We have to stop them." Daphne met his gaze, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and commitment. "Yes, we do." She reached out, taking his hand, her grip firm. Together. The ground trembled. A dropship descended from the sky, kicking up a cloud of red dust. The ramp lowered and a figure emerged. A human. Dressed in a tailored suit, his face smooth and unreadable. "Ryan Wright," the man said, his voice amplified by a hidden speaker. "We've been expecting you." He smiled, a chillingly polite expression. "I'm here to offer you a deal. Leave this planet, let the mining continue, and we'll make it worth your while." The air crackled with unspoken tension. Ryan stood firm, his gaze unwavering. "Your offer is declined." The official, a man whose tailored suit couldn't quite hide the predatory glint in his eyes, chuckled, a dry, rasping sound. "Defiant. I admire that, right, but defiance can be costly. You see, we know things about you, things you'd rather keep buried. A certain incident on Kepler 186f, perhaps, or maybe your association with the silent monks of Xylos." Ryan's heart made a flicker of surprise and something darker crossing his face. "Irrelevant. Irrelevant." The official raised an eyebrow. "Hardly. The corporation, Mr. Wright, is under contract with the Human Confederacy to secure the mineral rights to this. Charming little mudball, your continued presence complicates matters." Daphne, who had been watching the exchange with growing unease, stepped forward. Her crimson eyes narrowed, focusing on the official. "The Human Confederacy has an interest in our planet." Disappointment laced her tone. Ryan turned to her, his expression earnest. "Daphne, I swear I had no idea." He took her hand. "My past is my past. It doesn't change what I believe in now. I'll expose their crimes, I promise you." The official scoffed. "Admirable sentiment, but you're playing a losing game. Think about it, right? Wealth beyond your wildest dreams, a clean slate, or a very public unveiling of your less than savory history. I'll give you 12 hours to reconsider." He turned and strode towards the waiting transport, his final words hanging in the air like a threat. "Don't disappoint me." Silence descended as the transport lifted off, the thrum of its engines fading into the distance. Daphne pulled her hand from Ryan's grasp, her gaze troubled. "Can I trust you, Ryan?" "You have to," Ryan said, his voice firm. "I'm on your side, Daphne, whatever it takes." That official, that corporation, they won't get away with this. They retreated to the clan's central chamber, the weight of the official's ultimatum heavy in the air. 12 hours, Ryan muttered, pacing. "We're outmatched. They have resources, influence." Lyra, ever pragmatic, spoke up. "We could call upon the other clans, seek their assistance." Daphne frowned. "That is a risk, sister, revealing our location, our vulnerabilities." Ryan stopped pacing, his eyes gleaming with a sudden idea. "We don't fight them head-on. We use their own weapons against them. They have a communication network, right, to coordinate their operations." Daphne nodded slowly. "A secure network, heavily encrypted." "I can crack it," Ryan said, a confident smirk playing on his lips. "We expose them, broadcast their illegal activities to the human confederacy, make it public." That night, under the cloak of darkness, Ryan and Daphne crept through the sprawling mining complex. Ryan, his movements fluid and silent, disabled security cameras with practiced ease. Daphne, her senses heightened, scanned for patrols. They reached the communication hub, a sterile, metallic room humming with power. Ryan worked swiftly, his fingers flying across the console. Lines of code scrolled across the screen, a dizzying display of digital acrobatics. Almost there, just bypassing the final firewall. He typed a final command, and a triumphant grin spread across his face. "Done. I've got access." He began uploading a coded message, a detailed account of the corporation's illegal mining practices and the government officials' involvement, to a secure server within the Human Confederacy's media network, a source he knew he could trust from his past. As Ryan worked, Daphne explored the room, her attention drawn to a holographic display tucked away in a corner. She activated it, and a map of the planet shimmered into existence, crisscrossed with lines and marked with strange symbols. She zoomed in, her crimson eyes widening in horror. "Ryan, look at this." Ryan turned, his expression hardening as he took in the map. "What is it?" "Their plan," Daphne whispered, her voice trembling. "The corporation's plan to extract the planet's core energy." Ryan zoomed in further, his blood running cold as he saw the implications. A network of massive drills reaching deep into the planet's heart. "They're not just strip mining," he breathed. "They're going to drain the entire planet, render it uninhabitable." Daphne's voice was filled with anguish. "They will kill us all." The next morning, the clan gathered, their faces grim. The revelation of the corporation's true plan had galvanized them. There was no longer any question of hesitation. They would fight. "They are extracting the core energy near the crystal caves," Daphne announced, pointing to a location on a holographic map. "We must stop them." Ryan stepped forward, his eyes narrowed in thought. "A direct assault would be suicide. We need a plan, something disruptive." He outlined a daring strategy, a high-risk maneuver that involved infiltrating the extraction site and detonating a series of explosives. Daphne listened intently, her expression a mixture of admiration and concern. "It is a desperate plan, Ryan. You are asking us to risk everything." "I know," Ryan said, his voice low, "but it's our only chance." "And you," Daphne said, her voice thick with emotion, "you are staying behind to detonate the explosives, a one-way trip." Ryan met her gaze, his eyes filled with a mixture of willpower and regret. "Someone has to make sure it goes off, and I'm the best one for the job." Daphne stepped closer, her hand reaching out to cup his cheek. "If you do not make it, Ryan Wright, know this. I love you, and I will carry on your legacy. I will protect our planet, I promise you." Ryan swallowed hard, his own emotions threatening to overwhelm him. "I'm scared, Daphne," he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. "I don't want to die. But I can't stand by and watch them destroy everything you hold dear." He leaned in, pressing his forehead against hers. "Thank you," he whispered, "for everything." Daphne pulled him into a fierce embrace, her body trembling. She kissed him, a deep, passionate kiss that conveyed all the love and fear they both felt. As Ryan turned to leave, ready to implement the plan, a coded message flashed across Daphne's wrist-mounted communicator. Her eyes widened in horror as she read the message. It was from Lyra, who had managed to establish contact with a sympathetic human operative. Ryan's transmission blocked, corporation aware, targeting Ryan. Ryan! Daphne screamed, breaking free from the stunned silence. Daphne burst into the command center, her scales shimmering with a frantic energy. Ryan, they know. The corporation knows you sent the message. They're coming for you. Ryan, hunched over the comm console, didn't flinch. The holographic schematics of the energy extraction device still pulsed before him. Then they're coming for the truth, and the truth needs to be told. He met her gaze, his teeth gritted. I'm not backing down now. This isn't your fight, Daphne argued, her voice permeated with concern. Let me handle this, I will protect you. Ryan stepped away from the console, placing a hand on her arm. It is my fight, Daphne, because it's our fight, and I'm not going to let you face this alone. A chorus of clicks and hisses filled the room. Lyra and the other sisters entered, their faces grim but determined. Lyra stepped forward. He is one of us now, we stand with him. A wave of warmth washed over Ryan. He nodded, a surge of adrenaline coursing through him. All right, let's give them a welcome they won't forget. He quickly outlined his plan, a blend of human strategy and saurian tactics. As they prepared, the ground trembled. Alarms blared. The corporation's forces had arrived. The battle was a whirlwind of plasma fire, claw strikes, and roaring engines. Ryan, Daphne, and the sisters fought as a single unit, their movements synchronized, their commitment unbreakable. Ryan, with his monk-honed reflexes, moved with a speed and precision that surprised even the saurians, deflecting energy blasts and disabling drones with calculated strikes. Daphne, a whirlwind of emerald scales and fury, faced the corporation's leader, a hulking figure encased in power armor. Their duel was a clash of titans, a desperate struggle for the planet's fate. Energy blades clashed against hardened scales, each blow carrying the weight of their respective ideologies. While Daphne fought, Ryan made his way to the central energy extraction device. He bypassed security protocols, his fingers flying across the console. Sparks flew as he rerouted power, disabling the device with a series of precise commands. Device disabled. He shouted, but his victory was short-lived. A voice crackled over the comms. Failsafe activated. Planetary destruction sequence initiated. Ryan stared at the console in disbelief. The corporation, in their greed, was willing to destroy the entire planet rather than lose their claim. Daphne, hearing the announcement, faltered in her duel. The corporation leader seized the opportunity, knocking her to the ground. He raised his energy blade for the killing blow. Suddenly, Daphne closed her eyes. A low hum resonated from deep within her, a vibration that shook the very ground beneath their feet. I am one with this world, she whispered, her voice echoing with an ancient power, and I will not let it die. Ryan realized what she was doing, the Saurians' connection to their planet, the collective consciousness. She was trying to channel the planet's energy to defuse the failsafe, but she needed help. He rushed to her side, kneeling beside her. Daphne, focus, I'm here, I'll help you. He placed his hands on her shoulders, channeling his own energy, his own will into her. He remembered his training, the monk's teachings on focus and inner peace. He became a conduit, amplifying her power. A wave of emerald energy erupted from Daphne, engulfing the failsafe device. The ground trembled, the air crackled, and then silence. The failsafe was disarmed. The planet was safe. The corporation's leader, defeated and demoralized, was quickly apprehended. Their crimes were exposed, broadcast across the galaxy. The human government, faced with irrefutable evidence, had no choice but to act. The corrupt official was arrested, his career and reputation shattered. In the aftermath, something extraordinary happened. Inspired by Ryan and Daphne's courage and unity, the Saurian clans began to set aside their differences. They saw the potential for a future where collaboration and understanding replaced conflict and tradition. Standing before the assembled clans, Ryan and Daphne addressed the crowd. "The old ways," Daphne began, her voice strong and clear, "served a purpose. But the universe is changing. We must adapt." Ryan stepped forward. The ownership tradition was about protection, about responsibility. But it can be so much more. It can be about partnership, about equality, about shared respect. Together, they redefined the tradition, establishing a new era of equality and partnership between the clans, an era where strength was measured not by dominance, but by unity. Under the twin moons of the Saurian planet, Ryan and Daphne stood hand in hand, gazing at the horizon. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flora, the sounds of a world reborn. "We did it," Ryan said, a smile gracing his lips. "We actually did it." Daphne leaned into him, her scales brushing against his skin. "We did it together." "What does the future hold?" Ryan asked, his voice filled with hope. Daphne smiled, a genuine, radiant smile that lit up her face. "A future of our making." Years later, under that same twin moon, they held their child, a small, scaled infant with bright, curious eyes. As Ryan looked at the child, he saw a vision of the future. A future where humans and Saurians lived side by side, not as owners and owned, but as equals, as partners, as family. A future built on love, respect, and the unwavering belief in the power of unity.